emphasize enough the importance of knowing the verbs well. The simple truth is that if you don't master the verbs, you'll never speak English fluently. That's why this course dedicates several lessons to learning a technique that will allow you to learn them once and for all. Perhaps you have spent years of your life trying to memorize long lists of verbs that you later mispronounce or just completely forget when speaking. You know just how frustrating this experience can be. The problem is very deep-rooted, as you have probably been learning them by reading and thus ignoring their sound and the context in which they are used. To correct these mispronunciations can be very hard because you'll start experiencing a conflict between the sound you have learned in Spanish and the new sound you are now going to try to learn in your head. To win the battle in this lesson and in the following ones, you must 1. Learn the verbs in sentences within the context of a story. This is a much more natural and less boring way of learning them than memorizing long lists of verbs. 2. Listen and repeat them until they sound completely familiar to you. Remember that familiar means that you can use them correctly without hesitating, just as you don't hesitate when you speak or use the verbs in Spanish. In the previous lessons, when we were doing active reading, we checked some vocabulary and structures. Now we are going to do something similar using chapter 3. However, this time we will only concentrate on the verbs in the present tense. I have tried this method for years with my own students, and I know that it can work miracles when people take it seriously. So, in order for this method to work, I will ask you to listen and repeat the sentences with the verbs you are learning until you become exhausted. At the same time, try to visualize the situations and feelings that the characters in the story experience. This will make the learning process much more fun. To become fluent in English, you don't need to know all the details of the verb tenses. You just need to learn to use them properly and have a general idea about when and how to use them. To guide you through this learning process, I will give you a short explanation on the simple present tense that you can use as a reference guide. Simple present tense verb to be. Please check the details of this tense in lesson 6. I will now give you the examples. Affirmative example. She is pretty. Negative. I am not angry. Question. Are they home? Negative question. Aren't you hungry? Answers. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. It is used to describe status or characteristics of something or someone. Simple present tense of other verbs. Affirmative. Example. I work here. She works there. Negative. Examples. I don't work here. She doesn't work here. Notice, does is used in negative statements in the third person. He, she, it. Question. Examples. Do you work here? Does she work here? Notice does is used for questions in the third person. Negative questions. Examples. Don't you work here? Doesn't she work here? Answer. Yes, she does. No, I don't. No, she doesn't. Warning. Do not answer repeating the main verb. Compare. Do you work here? Correct. Yes, I do. Incorrect. Yes, I work. It is used to talk about habitual actions, permanent situation, and natural facts. Examples. I work every day. She comes here on Mondays. Habitual actions. They live in Rome. Permanent situation. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Natural fact. Go to chapter 3 of your audiobook and listen to it at least 2 times. Next, read it, trying to spot the simple present tense of the verb to be and other verbs. Listen and repeat the following sentences until you memorize them. Who is Dorian Gray? Who is Dorian Gray? Only the people who pay their bills need money. Only the people who pay their bills need money. I want something from you, uncle. I want something from you, uncle. Money, I imagine. Money, I imagine. I don't want money. I don't want money. I never pay my bills. I never pay my bills. What I want is information about Dorian Gray. What I want is information about Dorian Gray. Who is he? Who is he? He is the grandson of Lord Kelso. He is the grandson of Lord Kelso. He is very handsome. He is very handsome. I don't know. I don't know. I suppose so. You say that. You say that. Late as usual. Late as usual. I am very angry with you. I am very angry with you. Why don't you want Dorian Gray to play at a charity concert? Why don't you want Dorian Gray to play at a charity concert? Because I want him to play for me. Because I want him to play for me. Those poor people need it. Those poor people need it. I am capable of sympathizing with anything except suffering. I am capable of sympathizing with anything except suffering. It's too ugly. It's too ugly. It pleases me to hear you say that. It pleases me to hear you say that. I always feel very guilty. I always feel very guilty. When I come to visit your dear aunt, when I come to visit your dear aunt, the poor don't interest me. The poor don't interest me. Do you remember a past mistake, Duchess? Do you remember a past mistake, Duchess? A dangerous theory. A dangerous theory. It's one of life's great secrets. It's one of life's great secrets. Most people discover too late that. Most people discover too late that the only thing we don't lament are our mistakes. The only thing we don't lament are our mistakes. I prefer to go with you. I prefer to go with you. Do you promise you would talk the whole time? Do you promise you will talk the whole time? Nobody talks as well as you. Nobody talks as well as you. Now I want to look at life. Now I want to look at life. To sum up, about learning the verbs. To start mastering verbs, we'll begin by learning the simple present tense within the context of a story. You must listen and repeat them until they sound completely familiar to you. About the simple present tense. The simple present tense of the verb to be is used to describe the status or characteristics of something or someone. The simple present tense of the other verbs is used to talk about habitual actions, permanent situations, and natural facts. Try not to forget the s or es when talking in the simple present tense, third person, he, she, it. Correct, she works. Incorrect, she work. Try not to forget the does when making the negative or asking questions in the simple present tense, third person, he, she, it. Correct, she doesn't work here. Incorrect, she don't work here. Correct, does she work here? Incorrect, do she work here? Homework. Go back to chapter 1 and 2 of your audiobook and try to spot the simple present tense of the verb to be and of other verbs. Think about the structure and the difference between the simple present tense of the verb to be and the other verbs. Repeat aloud the sentences of chapter 1 and 2 that are in the simple present tense. Try to memorize them.